Welcome to the Lights Out Podcast. This is Chris Lights Out Lytle, and this is our journey to document the history of mixed martial arts. I have brought with me my friend, the MMA detective Mike Davis, and together we will preserve the history and hear some great stories from the world in the era of the no-holds-barred. Thank you and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Lights Out MMA History Podcast. I am Joey Venti. I'm with the host of the show, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Today we have a special guest, a two-weight division OneFC world champion who has his own statue of him in his home country. We're going to discuss the career of the Burmese python, Aung La Nsang. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you for having me. We go way, Mike and I go way back, I guess. Right?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Way back. 2005. That's a long time.
So, Joey, when you're on the independent grind, you see there's a lot of moving parts. And when Aung came about, let's start from the beginning. There's very little known about you. Aung, you might be the most famous guy in the entire United States that doesn't get as recognized nowhere near as you should. So let's start from the beginnings, because I think like how you even got here is incredibly fascinating.
Yeah. So I'm from a small town in Burma, Myanmar, called Myitkyina. And it's Myanmar is such a country that nobody knows about, nobody talks about, because it's ruled by like the military regime, and a lot of I'm an ethnic Burmese, a lot of fighting going on between the ethnic groups, and I came here initially for school, for college, to further my education, and I came here in 2003, and I ended up in Michigan, in the Southwest Michigan.
Andrews University.
Yep.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I used to milk cows, work at the dairy farm, shoveling cow manure, feeding the cows, all that fun stuff. Got the real Midwest experience, right then and there. And then started training in 2004, and fell in love with MMA after my first fight.
Okay. So right, 2000. So how about at the time your country is military rule? There's very little known about it outside of your country at this time. Were you training mixed martial arts? I know Lethwei is real popular there. Were you doing anything physical in terms of sports?
Just high school sports at that time. Lethwei and MMA at that time is not popular, right? But I've always loved, I used to train karate. I always liked, the mixed martial arts, right? I grew up watching, the Jet Li movies, would buy boxing gloves and box with my brothers, but Lethwei is not what it is, it's not like Muay Thai. It's not commercialized, right? Even now, the highest level Lethwei guys, like Tuntumin, they're training outside. They're training on dirt floor, until recently. And when I say recently, I'm talking about in the last 5 years. Like the top Lethwei guys, they train on dirt floor. They don't train in real gym. It's very, very primitive.
Did you ever fight Lethwei?
No, I never fought Lethwei.
Okay.
But I had uncles that did, right? But it's something that I was always interested, but couldn't do it. It's but Lethwei, I feel like is in our blood, right? The punching and kicking and kneeing, that's always in our blood, right? Everybody knows how to punch, everybody knows how to throw a kick, right? Not very technically sound, but everybody can do that. It's in the Midwest, everybody can wrestle, so yeah.
So would you consider yourself coming from a fighting family?
My uncles did, so not as deeply as I would like it to be, right? Because my dad was a jade miner and a jade merchant, You know, he wasn't really a fighter, more like a businessman. So no, we didn't come from a fighting
Okay,
family.
let me rephrase. Let's just say a police car was coming down the street. Would your mom say, "It's one of my kids. I know it"?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Okay,
so.
not a fighting family. Okay, the Guida family, Clay Guida,
Yep, yep,
absolutely. Clay Guida's mom would say that
yep,
car is for our house.
yep.
Okay,
But if something like that happened, you would be in like it's not a pretty sight. One of you, like the policing and the military over there is very, very like strict.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
There's
So
no allowed in Burma. There's no like no firearms allowed. Only the military can have the guns.
So you apply for an academic visa and
Yeah.
you come to the United States. Was your goal to fight once you got here, or was it just something you fell into?
No. My goal was to so I went to school for agriculture science, right? My goal was to learn, right? To learn agriculture and to improve agriculture back home. I was a farmer. I wanted to be a farmer, right? No. It's crazy, right? I came here to America, and it's like I came here to learn agriculture. Like I came here to learn farming so that I can go back and improve the farming methods over there in Burma, right? But a 4-year degree don't mean nothing. Like a 4-year Andrews University, like bachelor of science in agriculture doesn't mean like you can't do much yet, with that degree. It's um it's like you only get like an entry level job. In my head,
Okay.
4 years of college, I'm going to be this genius, this agriculture wizard, this agriculture genius, and I'm going to go back home and I'm going to revolutionize like the agriculture in Burma. And during that time, like I started fighting. 2005, I started fighting, and I love mixed martial arts.
How did you wind up? What gym did you start? Was it Legion?
No,
What
it
was your
was
first?
Trap Academy with
Trap Academy. And you went to Legion
Wally,
after. Okay.
yeah, Wally Holland and Todd Brown.
So Todd Brown, future MMA UFC fighter as well. Um, okay. So how do you find those guys?
Um, there was a friend of mine, a Samoan guy named Kevin Tolai, and Kevin used to fight in uh, it's like King of the Cage or the Cage Warriors, right? No, Gladiator Challenge. Sorry, Gladiator Challenge.
In California, Gladiator
Yeah,
Challenge. It
California.
wasn't Cage Rage in Indiana.
No. It was
Okay.
a Gladiator Challenge. Kevin fought in Gladiator Challenge. Um, and I saw him hitting the bag at our college gym, right? And I was like, man, like I want to learn what he's doing. And so he invited us, my friend Etienne and I, to go train in South Bend, Indiana. And that's when we started training. Started training with jujitsu, and then some kickboxing with Todd Brown. Crazy, right?
Todd was tough.
Yeah.
Todd was tough. All right. So, Joey, May 20th, 2005 is weigh-ins where I first meet Aung. And I had heard about him. It's a guy, he's like a political refugee. He's in school. People always had kind of like these crazy stories. And I said, hey, so Aung, how mad are your parents that you're here fighting? And I think you told me, oh, they don't know. I'm not going to tell them. I think that's what you said to me.
That's crazy, huh? Mike, you remember that, huh?
I take notes. I've taken notes like on the regional MMA scene for, I think 2003 is when I started. So our entire podcast, if I got some somebody that I've seen fight before. I've got notes, like personal notes on them, and if not, I do tons of research on the other people. It's kind of what we do here. So yeah, I remember you never told your parents.
Yep, I didn't. I didn't until much later, until I was fighting. Until I was like, man, and I finally told them when I really wanted to pursue it, like a career. But they said you had to finish college first. So,
Yeah, I don't think they could even wrap their heads
no,
around exactly what you were doing.
of course not. Of course not. How could they?
It's not on TV there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those things, right? Like I was in college, I didn't know much, but I knew I was very passionate about it, and I loved the training, and I loved, once I fought my first fight, I was like, man, this is so much fun, so much adrenaline rush, and I fell in love with it, from day one. Just had to get better. Didn't have the skill set. Didn't have any of the skill set to compete.
Well, this is what I will say. May 21st, 2005, Total Fight Challenge. Joe Goitia is the promoter. I was the event organizer. You're at 205 pounds. You fight a jail guard. Emerson Rushing was your opponent. And Emerson, at the time, I think he was like 3-1, but he could hit. He could hit like a brick shithouse, man.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I didn't cut weight.
No.
I believe I was like 190, 190.
198, I think, is what you weighed in at for a 205-pound fight.
Yeah,
and Emerson is from, he's a state placer in wrestling.
Yeah.
He was from Gilbert Grappling. So you had a guy that cut not a lot of weight, but a noticeable amount of weight, and then a guy that didn't know how to cut weight.
Yeah. I didn't cut weight. I just went there, But the thing about it is, ever since that fight, I had that bug, I loved it, and I loved that rush,
Well, you lost that night.
Yeah, I lost that night, but it was the funnest thing I ever did in my life.
Huh. Not a lot of guys say that after a KO loss.
Yeah. No, for me, it wasn't like a KO loss, because it's like I didn't want to stop the fight, right? Because my cheekbone swelled up, right? The big knot, and the doctor stopped it, and I was like, I looked over, you were so tired.
Yeah, you were politely mad. You were very Asian in regards to how you handled it, very polite. But you were not happy. Yeah.
No, happy, yeah. But it's crazy, right? It's crazy how man, it's almost scary. It's almost scary that I went there and I fought not knowing much.
So Emerson Rushing, you look at his record, it's like a 500 record. But the truth behind the record is that he hit super, super hard. He was very durable, but he was one of those guys that, I'm not going to call him a one-trick pony. He was just somebody that relied on his power and his takedown defense. And if he couldn't knock you out, or his gas tank kind of failed, or you got his back, he was in a lot of trouble. Where Aung refused to quit, he kind of was just like, it's not for me, but legit next level power for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He hits hard,
Yeah. And
one thing I know is that I have a hard head too. Yeah. I have a hard head, and I have a chin, as long as I'm not cutting weight, So
yeah. So after Emerson Rushing, obviously it was a doctor stoppage. You took almost a whole year off.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think it was by choice, though. I think I wanted to fight again, And there's a fight on my record that's not on there, right? The one I fought in Battle Creek. It's not on my record, right? But
I think I might have it. I think I might have it. No, I mean, and it was wild. Like after the events, Ong, I was one of the detractors saying, man, that kid should probably stick with school. Should probably stay in school.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And I probably should have, and I probably should have. And like if I was my own coach, I would have done a lot of things differently, I know that I didn't really develop my skill sets until much later, right? And that's why I'm telling you now, like even though I'm 39, I'm still improving and I'm still getting better, right? And I feel like my time is now. Like everything is where it needs to be, and like my wrestling is improved, like my overall game has improved, and it's like if I were to train a guy my age, I would have done a lot of things differently, you know but it's like one of those things, you train at a gym that doesn't, like, I don't know. I train at gyms that didn't specialize at a high level MMA. You know what I mean? It's like,
You're stuck in the Midwest. You're at Andrews College. You
yeah,
got a good group of guys, but
yeah.
it's not very scientific.
No, it's not high level at all. It's not high level at all.
Yeah.
And this sport is becoming a very, very high level, right? Like you see these kids from Russia that are coming in at 19, they have a full skill set. They can wrestle, they can strike, they can, they can grapple really well. It's like, if I could go back, I would have changed that, I would have been.
Okay. Well, look at the discipline of the Russian wrestler, though. Like when the Americans say, man, I had a full fight camp, I ate good, I did this, where the Russians will say, well, I've never had a cigarette, I've never had a sip of alcohol, and it's things that somebody might take a short break from. Being from where you were at, did you also have that type of discipline?
Being from where I am at, like,
yeah, in the beginning,
like at Andrews, like I didn't really drink until, I mean, I'm not a big drinker to begin with, but I didn't understand much about nutrition. I didn't understand much about strength and conditioning. In the Midwest, you just lifted weights.
it's true.
You don't know anything about strength and conditioning. You don't have really good striking coaches neither. At that time, when I was like, when I was training, we had like a decent jiu-jitsu coach. That's why I would pull guard and, armbar people and stuff like that, but the love for fighting was there, that love, that passion was there. But as far as the skill set in the beginning of my career, like I didn't have much skill set.
So you graduated college.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people fall in love with like jiu-jitsu or fighting, whatever their purpose was prior gets put so far behind that they kind of desert it. But you finished, huh?
Yeah. No, I finished college because that was one of the things that my parents, they sent me to America to get higher education, right? And one of the deal was that I can keep fighting as long as I finish college. So I had to finish college first.
I don't think they understood.
No, they don't. They didn't understand, and rightfully so. Like I didn't, like, this career didn't hit off until
Years.
2017. So
Yeah.
you think 2005, 2005, in my head, like after I went on a good win streak, I thought, man, I'm gonna make it. Never made it. Never made it until like 2017 when I actually made real money.
So this guy, it took him 12 years of refusing to quit before he turned the corner. You never said no. May 21st, 2000, or March 11th, 2006, it's your second fight. Champions Factory, Halton Flowers. It's your first win.
There's one more win before that.
So there's one in between there then, huh?
In between there. There's one in between there in Peddler's Village.
I don't know where that's at.
Peddler's
Your
Village.
dog missed it.
Remember in Indiana, there's like an auction house where they had fights?
That's Cage Rage.
Is it Cage Rage?
It's
Or-
Chet Wagner's event. Yeah, Cage Rage.
It was a Triple X or something like that.
Yeah, it's Cage Rage. So Todd Brown fought there. Okay. So
Yeah.
I thought I saw you in Cage Rage, and I think you were also at Todd Brown's fight at Bourbon Street in Chicago.
Yeah,
I think you cornered him.
yeah, but the next fight was in that Cage Rage, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was Triple X or something like that, right?
It was, yeah, it was,
It was in an auction house,
yeah.
right?
Oh, okay. So you win there. Was it by stoppage?
It was by a stoppage, right? So when I fought there, it was like crazy. Like you go in there and literally you're on the concrete warming up, you know, and then they bring you out and I look around and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? All watching me, and you go in the cage and the guy comes out, he jumps around, and I said, what the hell am I doing here? And then he runs after me. I like step back and I knock him out. Like I knock him out, and then you're like, wow, this is so awesome, right? And then it's like, and then I got paid like, I think it was like $80 or $90. It was
Joey, I didn't want to give a spoiler alert, but Chad is kind of known for not paying anybody. So
Really?
leaving with $5 is pretty good in this instance. You probably beat a ticket
Jesus.
seller too.
so he paid me $80 or $90, but I was so happy. I was like, yes, like I get to fight and I get to make some money.
So Halton Flowers is your second win.
Yeah.
And you get a pretty quick turnaround after Halton. May 13, 2006. So you're looking at like a month later. You're at Ultimate Takedown, Noel Gomez. First submission.
Oh, Noel
victory.
Gomez is the guy that messed up my thumb. It was like a Mexican guy. Yeah, it was a Mexican guy. And I hit his head so hard, that I popped my thumb, right? I popped my thumb and like I was like, man, this guy's not going down. You know, and then I believe like I just took him down and then armbarred him. Yeah.
Yeah, you really made the rounds. Like here, 2 months later, less than about a month and a half later, you got Steve Lauer, Heartland Ground and Pound. And then I saw you again in Indianapolis, August 25th, 2006. Jason Law, he was 5-1. Jason Law was tough. This was at 8 Second Saloon.
Yep, Jason Law, yeah. Jason Law, was that what promotion was that?
Ultimate Fight League. It's Keith Palmer. He used to have like LFC, like Legendary Fight, LFC. It was like LFC, and then it switched over to UFL. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Jason Law or Jason what's?
It was Jason Law. He was like 5-1, and there's no record. Like his record online, I think is 0-1, but that's not true. His real record at the time was 5-1, and
his record on Sherdog is 1-2, but he has a lot of amateur fights. He's like 4-4 as an amateur.
Yeah, he was 100% 5-1 as a pro. You know, a lot of those fights in the Midwest weren't recorded.
Yeah.
And they brought you in as a B-side.
Yep. So when we started that fight, I did a flying knee. I jumped up and I did a flying knee, and he hit me really hard, right? He hit me really hard because I would start every fight with a flying knee, right? And he hit me really he hit me square. And then after that fight, I never started the fight with a flying knee.
Yeah,
And then
Wes Sims. Yeah, Wes Sims, Mark Coleman, they were in attendance for that event.
Mark Coleman was?
Yes. Yeah.
And I think the main event was Jake, right? Jake O'Brien.
Jake O'Brien. Dude, look at you, man.
Because I was like, man, if nobody's here to fight him, I'll fight him.
Jake O'Brien, I think he was like 2-3 in the UFC, but it's a murderous road. It's like Junior Dos Santos,
John
Jones. Yeah. It's like they hated him.
Yeah.
Heath Herring as well. Yeah.
But it's crazy, right? Now I get it. It's like skill set matters. Like the skill set. When you're in the Midwest, you're just fighting. You're just fighting because you love it. But the skill set, it matters a lot. Like the pedigree of your striking, the pedigree of your grappling, the pedigree of your wrestling. Those three has to go hand in hand, right? And in the Midwest, it's like more like a tough man contest. You know, you don't really develop like, or at that time at least, we were not developing skill sets.
This is the way I kind of look at it. Like in the Midwest, the California guys, that's where Joey's from.
Yep.
They'll be like 3-4-0, and they're in the UFC as this big prospect. To where in the Midwest, you got to have 25, 30 fights before the UFC would even look at you. And we would, I'm not going to say be jealous, but we'd be like, why are they choosing this person rather than us? But like you said, it's 25 fights of really, really hard work versus 3 or 4 fights of very high-end development.
Yeah. For sure.
How long did it take you to kind of figure that out?
How long? Probably, I mean, I had to move down to Florida and see a big camp and understand like the levels, of competitors. Who's from Michigan, right? Rashawn Evans is here, right, from Michigan, right? And towards the end of the career, I was a lot like one of his main training partners, right? And I know like there are skill sets that are lacking, right? There's skill sets that are lacking, and he has one, he has one skill set that's really good, right? But the issue is this, like everybody's catching up now. Everybody's skill set at the high level is very, 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 very good now. Meaning that they can stop a high level college wrestler from taking them down, right? With footwork and with striking. And so like so if you don't improve and if you don't evolve as a fighter, you're gonna get left behind, and you see that with a lot of the older fighters, right? They get left behind, right? Like let's say an example, Vanderlei Silva. When I was starting, he's like the scariest guy, right? Now, if you look at his striking, you say that's not very clean striking. That's not really high level striking.
It's just mean. Yeah, it's mean striking. Yeah.
Yeah. And a good technician can take out somebody like that very easily, And Crow Cop's like one of the examples, right? That can take him out. So when I came to Florida in 2017 is when I realized, man, I need to improve these skill sets. It was the first time that I saw high level guys too. High level guys like Luke Rockhold was there, Rashad Evans, Kamaru Usman. All these big guys.
Wow. October 7th, 2006, King of the Cage, Brandon Griffin is the opponent. Mike Camp, I believe, was the matchmaker for that.
Yeah.
How was your experiences with Mike?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Wally and Todd just tell me who to fight, and I go and fight. I'm serious. I had never in my whole entire career. I've never turned down a fight. And I don't know anything that goes on behind it. Only now I'm my own manager. I'm my own manager, and I do my own negotiations, right? But before I didn't. I just say yes to wherever the gym that I was training at would tell me to fight.
I will say that. All right, so I'm on the administrative side at this point.
Yeah.
And the biggest, like when people would bring your name up in regards to how you would match up with certain guys, I was working with shows in Wisconsin and Illinois and Indiana. And, my response would be, he's very tough. He's a quick finisher, but he's somebody that's going to beat a ticket seller that isn't proven. Like if you've just got a guy that's a ticket seller and you think, oh, let's bring in this Asian guy, you're going to lose a ticket seller. So you were always a B-side. So like when people look at your beginning record, dude, when you're the B-side, they're working against you. They're never working for you.
Yes. When I fought Chris Price, I was the B league. When I fought, James Lee, I was the B side, I was always the B side.
Your entire career. Up until OneFC, you were always the B side.
Yeah.
And that is
especially in the East Coast, especially with Uriah, with Costas, Philippou.
Hey, we're getting there. We're getting there, dude. Yeah.
I was offered to fight. I was also offered at that time, right? Those two, but I was also offered to fight. What's the American guy that beat Anderson Silva?
Chris Weidman.
Chris Weidman, right? Chris Weidman. I was like, yeah, I'll fight him. Like, I was down to fight anybody, not knowing who they were, But like Chris Weidman ended up fighting this Brazilian guy instead. But that night, like it's like you never know what these guys are, right? But at that time, like I got to learn the love of fighting, but I didn't get to develop my skill sets, and didn't.
I don't think you experienced the love of fighting. Like you enjoyed fighting, but you also need to receive love back.
Yes,
and you're always the B side, and the promoter's always working against you.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah, you're right, Mike.
Yeah,
you're 100% right. Yeah.
Headliner on this card was Gary Myers. That's how far back we're going.
Who? Gary Myers?
Gary Myers was the headliner of this King of the Cage card.
That's crazy. And who was who were the guest appearance, right? UFC.
Let me guess. Dan Severn?
No.
Who?
Robbie Lawler and Jen.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm really good friends with Robbie Lawler now. He trains. He's like one of the owners of our gym, and also he used to be one of my teammates. So now I have a really good, like, Robbie Lawler's my friend now, but he doesn't know that I met him that day. And Jens Pulver too. I met Jens Pulver as well. Crazy, huh? Small world.
It is, and that's when the Miletich fighting system was like at its peak.
Say that again?
They were at its peak. The Miletich fighting system at that point.
That's right.
Yeah. Like if you look at it,
I saw that night too. Guess who I saw that night?
Who?
Jared from the subway.
Oh God. That's when he was flying high. Oh man.
Yeah. That night, yeah. So there was an after party, and he was there.
Talking to young girls.
Oh, Ong, I got some kids I'd like you to meet. No, you don't.
That's a crazy.
Yeah, I mean, then you go on to fight Jim Martens after that, and the one thing that like we saw too is you were a fast finisher. Like at the Heartland Ground and Pound, February 23rd, 2007, Eric Breton, you knocked him out in like 18 seconds.
Yeah. With a kick, right? With a kick.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wasn't at that one. Yeah.
But Jim Martens, it was a crazy fight, right? Jim Martens was a crazy fight. Like I was in college, you know how college students are.
Yeah.
And I played poker the whole night. I played poker the whole night before that fight. And I lost all my money at 5 a.m.
Oh.
And when I saw it, I was like, he's an easy fight in my head. But I was like dragging butt the whole fight. It's like so crazy, man. Like if I could coach myself back then, and if I could have, give myself the skill set, I would be so much better. But that's we say that at the end of the career, towards the end of the career. But hopefully I can use that for the next generation. Yeah, I got what's crazy, right? So college is like over 20 years. Like college for me was like over 20 years, right? In less than 10 years, my son are going to be in college. My son, and I have a 9-year-old son. So in less than half of that time, my son's going to be in college. My son and his cousin, right? My nephew, they're going to be good. They're going to be killers.
Good.
Yeah. They're already closing out, their jiu-jitsu divisions, those two. So we're going to build the skill set and we're going to get them ready.
That's good. You got them in wrestling?
Yep. So wrestles Tuesdays and Thursdays, jiu-jitsu Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays.
That's good.
Yeah. So
that's Joey, we always talk about Aung is almost a 50 Fight Club member, but I think with this current contract, you will be when you upon completion. But when you look at boxes that somebody has to check, if I want to look at you like a seasoned veteran, you got to fight in one tournament, just one. And on March 31st, 2007, Cage Fighting Championship, you fought a 4-man tournament. Sean McCulley is your first opponent.
Yeah. Sean McCulley is my first opponent, and then my second opponent was
Julio Paulino.
Yeah. He said to me, so in the beginning of the tournament, it was supposed to be a 4-man tournament, right? And only 3 people showed up. Right? Only 3 people showed up. And Julio, and I was like, I'm down to fight first. And Julio said, yeah, I just ate, I can just wait for the second round, for the next round.
Oh man.
Fine. I'll fight the first round.
Julio was 10-1 at the time.
Yeah.
So he was a pretty experienced guy.
Yeah.
He was a stud. He fought in the UFC.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy about that event was this, right? They said the winner will get $1,000. Right? The winner will get $1,000. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Because in my head, it's like, I'm gonna just win this.
All right. Well, give it to me now or later.
Yeah. So I didn't make any money at all in that fight.
It was winner take all?
Yeah, winner take all.
But Julio only fought once.
They paid the other guy. Yeah, they paid the other guys too. But I didn't get paid at all for that fight.
Do you remember who the promoter was? Joey, where's it at? What city? I'll tell you.
St. Louis, right?
Cage Fighting Championship 1. It's coming up.
It's either.
It's just says United States on Sturdog. Sorry, Midwest. It says Midwest.
It was further. It was a far drive.
Was it Steve Berger?
Because it was the first time I saw St. Louis.
Maybe been Steve Berger. And dude, that's not brag about seeing St. Louis. It's not.
No, but I'm just saying it was the first time that because I remember Like I remember cutting weight to make that weight class, and I was like driving to Chicago, going south. Was it 83 I-83 or something like that?
Probably 88 or 55.
Yeah,
Probably I-55. Yeah. Yeah, you got crazy memory, bro.
crazy, man. And I get hit every day.
So you lose to Julio Paulino by decision.
Yeah.
Sean McCulley beat in under a minute. You've got several fights that you lasted under a minute on your record. And like at one point on the administrative side, when we kind of do our breakdowns of fighters, and because you gotta remember, you're a B-side. So we don't want to bring a B-side in to beat somebody that puts people in seats. So what you if you're experienced, you have to have like a spreadsheet of who's who and what's what at this level. It's very important. And my little note on you is when you go 3 rounds, you have issues. Like I questioned your cardio because you never really won a 3-round fight until much later on in your career.
Yeah. Again, that skill set, and just I had to talk to a sports psychologist, treat
Did
it
you?
like yeah. I treat it like a real sport,
After that, you fight James Lee, King of the Cage, June 15, 2007. James Lee is 12-3.
Yeah. Just fought in Pride, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Travis View beat Travis View. He also had a win over Dean Lister.
Think about that. That's your opponent.
Yeah, but I met him. I met him not too long ago. Like I met him a couple when his student was fighting in one championship.
Did you recognize him or?
Of course, you can't miss him.
Uh,
He still looks, he's just a little bit bigger, and he has he's a character, huh? James Lee was a character. Yeah.
Yeah. I've only met him once. I only met James Lee once, but I knew he was tough.
And his he's still friends with that promoter. He's still friends with that promoter.
Oh, I think was it kind of a heavyset guy?
Yeah.
It's either Monty Cox, I think Monty Cox, or was it Monty or Chaz Bowling?
I think it's Monty Cox.
Chaz Bowling, Monty Cox, Mike Camp.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 people kind of running King of the Cage at that time.
Yep. And they were like best friends. They're still like best friends.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You were supposed to fight Brad Burrick as well, but it got canceled. I think you got injured for that fight. Brad Burrick.
When was that?
See, here's the thing. Like I pull press releases. Like I used to print press releases out, and I've always kind of kept them like in files. And my press release for it said you were November 21st, 2007, King of the Cage, Brad Burrick. He stayed on the card.
Really?
And you were not. It's one of the few times I think there's 2 times that I think you pulled off for injury.
2007.
Yeah.
2007.
Or they just put his name on the poster. Promoters do that too.
Yeah, they press released it. Like they were really. Brad Burrick is from Jeff Curran's gym.
Yeah. I would have fought him.
Obviously. Go get that one back. We're getting that one back.
Let's run back.
Michiana Fight League. So your team at the time started their own organization. Josh Mix was your first opponent.
Yeah. He was he was very strong. I remember he was very, very strong. But a lot of people in the Midwest are strong, I threw an overhand and I took him down. And then he flipped me over and I armbarred him.
Yeah.
Last year, right? Last year I started training my nephew, right? And he really reminds me of myself. You know, he just started training. He just started training MMA, and he just started training jujitsu. And in jujitsu tournaments, he's a killer. He's like going, you know, trying to darce people, armbar people. He took gold the last time he was here in the intermediate division, you know, for a guy that's only been training 1 year. But what I'm trying to say is I think it's in the blood, you know,
It's
in our,
genetic.
yeah, yeah, to be a fast starter and a fast like to go for the kill right away.
Is that common in your country? I mean, based on like the military rule, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if it has to do with that, but I know my nephew is like that too. You know, like myself, like going for the kill right away.
Uh, because you say you're a farmer, and there's a theory where there's really two types of people. There's farm people, and then there's like sheep herd people. The farming people rely on their neighbors for help, to supply, give and take, where the sheep herding people have to take their herd alone into the mountain. And once they see danger, they have to handle it immediately and incredibly violently in order to protect their flock. You say you're a farmer, but sometimes you act like a sheep herder.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I like I'm from Myanmar. There's rice farms and there's water buffaloes. There's not much sheep.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the theory.
But
yeah, it's just the
yeah,
theory.
but my dad was a hunter too.
Okay.
My dad used to hunt wild games, you know, like back in the days. I don't know. It might be in our DNA, in our genetics, you know. I know when I have kids, a lot of my kids have that, like the Mongol dot on their butt. So
Yeah.
we don't know, you know, where it comes from, but the fighting spirit is in us, and that was one of the things that I had to when I talked to my psychologist, that's what I had to talk to about. You know, it's always fight or flight mode for me, right? Fight or flight mode, and when you compete at a high level, you can't be in that fight or flight mode. You become like you become almost possessed, and you don't want to be the possessed. You want to be like the smooth operator. So when I say that, right, like in the beginning, it's like kill or be killed, fight or flight mode, right? So when you go in there, you just go after and you just go, right? And maybe that's why my cardio isn't that good, you know. But if you, so when I talk to my sports psychologist, it's like you have to navigate yourself to the win. You know, you have to be present. Those were the things that he said. And when you're in that fight or flight mode, it's like, no, it's not a good stage to be in.
Have you ever microdosed with like mushrooms or anything like that?
No, I don't do anything like that anymore. I don't do any like,
even for brain health?
No, I don't. Ever since I got into the Bible and I found Christ, like it's I don't. I just keep it simple.
It's good. I respect that. Yeah. Yeah. So when you fought November 22nd, 2008 on C3, your original opponent was Mike Morello, who was 7-2. And then he fell off the card and you fought Steve Dow.
Yeah. What I wanted to fight Mike Morello because he was in the Ultimate Fighter or something. He was in
the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know what season, but he was. Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't get into the house. Right.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to fight him, you know. And a replacement came. Steve Dow was from one of the gyms, right? One of the
Jeff Curran's gym.
Yeah. Jeff Curran's gym. Yeah.
Same gym as your opponent that pulled out.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I always thought I have a good chance against anybody. It's like I just wanted to fight. Like
So,
looking back, like I would have trained a lot better. I would have trained a lot more. Like I would have trained at a higher level gym. But in my head, I just wanted to fight, and I thought if I connect, I could get it done.
so you were losing that fight. I was at the Savant.
Yeah,
You kept getting taken down and out positioned.
yeah,
And Steve's tough. He's legitimately a very skilled guy. He's got a couple wins over Jason Guida.
yeah,
He's no slouch.
yeah, yeah. And I was throwing everything at him, like the uppercut from hell. I just throwing everything at him.
You were with Legion Fighting Alliance at that time.
Yeah, just a bunch of like college students with Kevin Tolai and Norm Alexander.
I remember him.
Yeah, because it was closer to the gym and it was too much of a drive, right?
Yeah, you guys formed your own team. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I thought there was like I didn't know. I just knew that you had switched teams. So
yeah,
not only did you immigrate here, as a college student, now you're staying here as a fighter and now
yeah,
kind of switching teams a little bit.
yeah. I don't know what the real reason was. I don't know. I don't know if it was money or
Do you remember who else was on that card?
um Pat Curran.
So Pat Curran fought Darren
Yeah,
Elkins.
Darren Elkins. Yeah,
So
yeah,
those two fought, and it was just
yeah,
friggin' nuts.
yeah. But it's crazy, right? How the careers go, right? Pat Curran went up to Bellator, won that $100,000 thing, right? And then my buddy fought Adam Borich fought Pat Curran, knocked him out with a flying knee, jumping knee. Crazy, small world.
And then Darren Elkins is still in the UFC.
On the UFC, right? And
Yeah.
fought my buddy Chaz Scally.
Yeah. Yeah. Good guy. Chaz, good guy. Chaz is in Texas now, right?
Yeah, and I said, Chaz, how can you lose to this guy? How can you lose to this guy? He has no skills whatsoever. He's just a tough wrestler. No, but Darren Elkins is a tough wrestler, tough
So
fighter.
it's a legendary card. Do you remember when Boban Simic fought Arnold Adams?
Yes,
So
yes.
Arnold Adams later became the bare knuckle fighting championship first heavyweight champion. Won it
Really,
again. Yeah, he was
Re-
BKFC heavyweight champion twice.
really, that's crazy.
It was like a double knockout.
Boban beat him.
Yeah, it was like a double knockout,
Yeah,
except Arnold Adams fell out of the ring onto the ground, and Boban stayed in the ring, and they gave the win
yeah,
to Boban.
yeah. And I wanted to fight those guys too. I was so crazy. I didn't care. I wanted to fight those guys.
Other UFC notables on the card: Josh Shockley, Jason Guida, Eddie Wineland, and Kenny Robertson. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yourself 8. 8 people on a card wound up doing some pretty cool things later on in their careers.
What else on that card, right? Yusuf Sadalayev.
The next card he fought on.
The next card, that's right. The next card, Yusuf Sadalayev. That's so crazy.
Do you know who the matchmaker was?
Who?
Ray Flores, the big boxing announcer.
Ray Flores. That's crazy.
Yeah, the guy that does all the commentary for boxing
Yeah.
and the ring announcing. Yeah, he was the matchmaker.
So the next card was with the Yusuf Sadalayev. And
May
I was like,
9th, 2009. You got
Yeah.
Chris Price, and I told them not to do this fight, I might add.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
like
glad
you guys.
I convinced them.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't listen.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't listen. Because that fight
So-
was the fight that was like, yep, I'm gonna do this now.
What's guillotine? So Chris Price is 15-2. He's a UFC vet. He's trying to get some fights with guys with decent records to go back to the big show. Keith Palmer's his manager. And
manager.
yeah.
Geez, so Keith Palmer has been trying to screw me over all this time.
The
Huh?
Keith Palmer is lined up about a bunch here. Yes. The answer, yes.
That's it.
Keith Palmer, for people at home that don't know, he was Chris Lytle's original boxing coach. Big promoter here in the Midwest at one point. Yusuf Sedulayev, another OneFC veteran, also on that card.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, right? Like, you think Yusuf Sedulayev is so old now, right? But at that time, he was a 19-year-old teenager, a teenage kid. Like, and I was like I was 21, and I was like, man, this guy can't even drink yet, you know? This guy can't even buy a beer yet. Like, now he's like, you know, he's at the end of his career too. But it's just crazy, right? And I was like, man, this kid is really good. He's
Why was he here? He's another guy. Why are you? I'm like, I remember like he showed up at one of my events on the card. I was a promoter at Bourbon Street where Todd Brown fought. I think I'm almost positive you were cornering him. And I remember like, who is this guy? He's like a Russian killer. Why is he here?
He's so good, right?
Yeah. That was my introduction to that Muslim mindset in regards to discipline. Yusuf Sedulayev. He was my introduction to it.
Yeah, so disciplined.
Yeah. And then you moved to Maryland.
Yep.
Okay, so when you did that, my conversations were, oh, he's going to be a B-side again.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because you were just starting to establish yourself. You're selling tickets. People are getting to know you. And now you move, and it's like, oh, okay. Why?
So,
why did you move?
I moved there because I was done with college, right? I was done with college, and I got a job. And my sister lived there, and I was kind of lost. Like, lost meaning like I didn't have the right documentation to live here, right? Because I was on a student visa. My student visa is running out, right? But at that time, my mom applied for political asylum status, and so because of her, I was underage when we started the process. And I was legal, but I didn't have the right documentations, you know. And the only thing that hired me was a beekeeper, right? A beekeeper hired me.
You worked in an apiary?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Crazy,
how cool
right?
is that? That's cool, man.
I start off milking cows and then the bees, right? So to me, this is like the land of milk and honey. This is like the promised land, you know. God brought me here.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
So you moved to Maryland.
Yeah.
And Lou Neglia is your what gym? Yeah. What gym do you go to?
So I train out of like an affiliate school of Lloyd Irvin, right?
Okay.
Crazy 88, and they're pretty much a jiu-jitsu school. And
why there? Why did you pick there?
Oh, because Brandon Vera at that time was Lloyd Irvin, right?
So you worked out with Todd Margolis too then?
No.
Because I know him and Brandon rolled quite a bit. Okay.
No, I came a little bit later. Brandon was already in San Diego, you know,
with Mark Dion and boxing. Yeah. Okay.
Crazy, right? So I know those guys later on because I fought Brandon later on, you know. But when I got there, like, I trained at a jiu-jitsu school. Don't have really striking. I'm actually one of the striking coaches. So my striking couldn't really improve, you know. So I fought for Lou Neglia, and Lou Neglia would always tell me like, oh, you know, Jean Vellante, you can fight Jean Vellante. He's just coming out of the couch, you know, so he's not gonna make, you know, you're gonna have to fight at a catch weight at 225 or 220, 205. Like it was crazy. Lou Neglia was very, very like he was trying
A
to get more.
promoter.
Yeah. All
He's a
these
promoter.
all these bad fights, right? But I was always down to fight. Like I fought everybody that he wanted me to fight.
But did anybody in the gym ever try to maybe tell you not to take certain fights?
They don't know. They don't know better. It's a jujitsu school. It's a jujitsu.
But why wouldn't you go to like an MMA school then?
Because my sister's house was very close to that to Crazy 88. It's a smaller gym of Lloyd Irvin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And honestly, like we would go train at Lloyd Irvin, but once a week or twice a week. You know,
Man, what was your experience with training with Lloyd Irvin?
it was good. You know, I had good times. You know, but I wasn't the main guy. You know, he never cornered me. You know, Julius Park never cornered me. I wasn't the A guy. You know, I was like the
B guy.
E guy.
That's,
Yeah,
but that's the reoccurring theme with you.
yeah.
Like there's a mental switch. Like when I here, Ring of Combat 33, December 3rd, 2010. Lou Neglia, he asked you to do a catch weight of 188 pounds. Did you miss weight or did he?
He missed weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fighting Costas Philippou, who is a friggin' savage. He's 5-1 at the time. I think he's a multiple Golden Glove champion, multiple-time Golden Glove champion.
Skill set too. You know, there's missing gaps in the skill set. Missing the right training partners. When he's training, his training partners are all MMA guys. My training partners are jiu-jitsu, you know, guys that do jiu-jitsu for fun. You know, that's a big difference.
Well, you got stopped quick.
Quick. It was so embarrassing. I was embarrassed.
It's your first fight on the East Coast too, man.
I was so embarrassed. You know, I was one of the assistant coaches or one of the coaches there, and I get knocked out like that in front of my students. You know, it's pretty embarrassing.
How was it going back to the gym after that?
It was embarrassing. You know, it's just it was hard. I couldn't go back for like almost half a week. You know, for a few days I just stayed in my house, stayed in my room. You know.
Did your sister go? Did she go?
My sister? No, my sister didn't go. My girlfriend, my wife to be went. Yeah. Yeah.
She went.
Yeah, she went. Yeah.
So on the way back, honey, it doesn't always happen this way.
That time yet.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's normally not like this. You have to explain that to her.
I didn't have to.
Wow. So Costas Philippou, 11-second knockout.
Yeah.
That's in December. And
then he went to the UFC after he beat like Uriah Hall, right?
Yeah. Mitch Witzel is your next opponent. He's 16-19. So, as much as Lou Neglia, I mean, he's got a pretty good reputation. I don't know about with you, obviously being a B-side, but at Ring of Combat 34, Mitch Witzel is a good bounce back fight for you, especially, considering what took place in the fight prior.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we were selling some tickets there at that time.
From your gym?
Yeah, from the gym, yeah.
Good. That helps, dude. That helps so much, man.
For sure.
Yeah, you won by rear naked choke, and then he lines you up with a 4-2 Uriah Hall.
Yeah. Yeah. I met Uriah Hall like about a couple years ago in the PFL. And it was kind of cool, like get to talk to him and stuff. And he has a big scar in his hand. And he said he broke his hand on my head that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Crazy,
quite
right?
the honor. Quite the honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Uriah Hall, like, so here you move out to the East Coast, and I'm still following your career at this time, and it's your third fight in, and you lose in the third round by KO.
Yeah.
Is there any doubts in your mind at this point about this being a career path for you?
Of course, big time. You know, big time. But every time, like every time I lose to the guy, like they go on to making it to the
The
UFC
UFC.
on the Ultimate Fighter show, you know, doing big things in the Ultimate Fighter show. So I thought, you know, I'm right behind them, and I'm gonna catch up soon. You know, I'm right behind
Just
them.
little changes, just little changes.
Yeah,
I think it's like for the most part, it's discipline.
yeah,
You have to have discipline. You have to.
yeah. And you have to keep adamant, and you need to keep going, keep trying, right? Keep working, keep growing, keep improving, because this is the thing, right? You might fight a guy that's over here, you might fight a guy that's over here, right? But on the fight, you have to show up and you have to bring everything you got, right? But as long as you're making this upward trajectory, you're in a good spot, right? You'll be okay.
Here, like Ray Flores, the boxing
Yeah.
announcer. He started announcing when he was 15 and 16 years old. And he was terrible. Ray
Yeah.
Flores was awful. People would laugh at him. People would make fun of him because he's kind of like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
He never stopped. He knew like there was a finish line, and he made those little adjustments. And now every weekend he's on some of the biggest fights in the world.
There's the guy that used to announce in the Midwest on our shows, right? He now announces at One Championship.
What's his name? Do you remember?
He's like, he has a
Paul?
mole. He has a mole here, and he's like Hispanic American
And he's from the Midwest?
from the Midwest. He's
It's not
commentated.
Ray
Huh?
Flores has got a mole right there. Are we speaking about the same guy?
Sorry, yes. Sorry,
Yeah, that's Ray.
he does One Championship.
First of all, man, I gotta look this up. He's the announcer?
Yeah, for One Championship.
Ring announcer?
No, commentator.
Let me see who it is. Oh man, no, I don't know who it is. I do not know who that is.
Who is it?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'm looking at the picture. There's people yelling at the podcast right now. The name. Is it Dan Lau?
No, not Dominic Lau.
Dan Lau, okay.
No, it's
You got Chevello?
no, Chevelle
Brent Stover? No?
gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
There's not Mitch.
Mitch, it's not Mitch. Okay, yeah, we're on the same. Guys, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments.
No,
So is he started in the Midwest as well?
yes, he started in the Midwest on the same show as me.
I gotta see. I don't know. After Uriah Hall, Casey Manruque is 4-1.
Yeah.
He had a lot of hype behind him as well.
Yes, he did.
And he kind of turned the corner there. You knocked him out in the second round.
Yeah. And that was the fight that I was like, man, after that losing to Uriah Hall, I was like, man, I need to be a lot better. You know,
Was it
like,
your gas tank? I heard it was your gas tank.
Uriah Hall?
Yeah.
No, because my cornerman wasn't like I blame my cornerman a little bit because he wanted me to do a Superman into a low kick and he called for a GSP. You know, guess he does Superman punch and a kick.
Yeah.
And then I did exactly that, which got me TKO.
You shouldn't laugh at it, but
No.
hey, man, that's a game, dude. That's a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew Puzon is 2-4. Was he a last minute replacement?
No, Drew Puzon was like the he
Tough
was
wrestler, right?
no. He was he had his own school. He had a school. He was a Henzo guy. He was Henzo's guy, and then he was like and in my head I didn't lose that fight. Like in my head I won that fight, but
Yeah, he had a bad record.
yeah,
And do you think he may have got robbed hometown decision?
probably. That's what I think, you know. Because I knocked him down. I knocked him down 2 times. And the most significant thing he did was like held me down, you know. But but it is what it is, you know.
Well, of course, but anytime at this point that you went to a third round, you lost the
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, yeah. But I know for a fact that like he brought in a lot of tickets.
Of course, dude. That's part of it. That's part of your problem. Your opponent sells tickets.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, and Sam Oropeza as well.
Yep. His coach was the matchmaker and the his coach was also the promoter.
Yeah, Matrix fights. So he's 5-2. So you got 2 losses in a row.
Yeah. And I was like, man, I should be done with this thing.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, most people would give up, right? At that time.
Yeah, for sure.
You've lost 3 out of your 4 fights. Most people would give up at that point.
Bellator calls you for a catchweight fight at 175 against Jesus Martinez.
Who do you think is the B-side in that fight?
Oh, you 100%, dude. 100%. Especially at a catchweight 175. That's all for him. Were you last minute?
Was I last minute? No, I
you...
was. No, I liked that fight. I wanted that fight.
How much training time did you have? Because it's at 175. Did he miss weight?
No. He wanted it at a catch weight.
So they catered this fight for him.
Yeah. Yes.
And you knocked him out in 36 seconds. So whatever happened with those other 2 losses, that 36-second knockout right there, you forgot about it. King of the world. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the best.
I'm gonna do Bellator. Life good. Life is gonna be all right. I made like $3,000. Felt pretty rich at that time.
Fast knockout too.
Fast knockout. They're gonna have me back, and I'm gonna
be
fighting.
Me. They love me. Yeah. They never call you back, do they?
Because I'm the B side.
Right. Yeah. You know what's interesting is Jason Louck, October 13, 2012, Cage Fighting Fury Championship. You're in the main event. In all honesty, on paper, it's a very good fight for both people.
Yeah.
And he's the ticket seller, and it's a solid fight for him, and it's a solid fight for you. And this is the fight that went viral in your home country. So mom and dad finally got to see a fight.
Yeah. And that was the few fights that I fought at welterweight, you know.
Yeah.
Because at my gym they were saying you're too undersized for middleweight, which probably wasn't a good thing, because I had to kill myself to make, you know, welterweight. I walk around like 200, 205, you know, and they made me get down to welterweight, which was rough, man, which was rough. sometimes people cut too much weight, you know. Sometimes it's like if it takes away from the fighter that you are, you shouldn't cut down that much weight.
So there's an old saying where, are you training to learn for a fight, or are you training to cut weight for a fight?
Yeah.
Because it's two different ways of going to the gym.
Yeah. And for sure, like I know, like I never get knocked out. And I mean, minus, you know, the Costa and Uriah Hall, like I wouldn't get knocked out in training, and I would be getting knocked out in the fights, you know. And ever since I stopped cutting weight, I haven't been knocked out in the last 11 years.
Wow. Jason Louck, you win by KO in spectacular fashion. Yeah, it goes viral.
Yeah.
Well, what's that like? Like waking up and kind of understanding that the entire world has seen a knockout.
Not the entire world. It was more like it was more like all of Burma, right? A lot of Burmese people, right? Um, and like to me, it's like, yes, this is my ticket now, you know. I just had a win in Bellator. I just have a nice knockout finish. Like I'm gonna get called. I'm gonna get good, you know. And and it really like if it teach me anything, it taught me perseverance and like following your passion and just never giving up. You know,
You
that's
never
one thing.
quit, dude.
Yeah,
No, I mean, many people say no at some point, or they accept no.
yeah.
You're like a wrestler, like that doesn't accept a position. You're like, no, no, no. You kept going.
Man, we were so poor at that time too because my wife and I we got together, we got married in 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were so poor, we were so broke. Like we would have
It's
to
right around
like
this time. It's right around this time. Yeah.
yeah, we would have to get you know like meat from my in-laws freezer to eat, you know, stuff like that. But and I was
Oh,
teaching.
that's so hard. It's so hard to look at your in-laws in the face and just say, we need meat so we can eat.
Yeah, and then and then the in-laws I would be like, you know, my brother-in-law almost asked me to, you know, like he was gonna tell Katie to ask me to find a real job, you know, but
Were you
everything,
working at all or no?
you know, I was teaching full time now at that time, but I was making 1,600 a month. Yeah,
Oh,
you can live off of that.
you talking like teaching at jujitsu or teaching at a school?
Teaching at jujitsu. Like I was teaching the kickboxing classes and the 6 a.m. classes, you know.
You can understand how it would be difficult for them as well.
For sure, but then those times were the times that I grew as well, right? You know who came to 6:30 class was a guy named Tefan, you know, Chuck Wee. And Tefan ends up making it to UFC, you know. He was on the Contender Series, made it to UFC. Um, and also another glory kickboxer, you know, like um Cayman Diop, like these guys, you know, like I was their first like teacher, you know, for the first coach.
Wow.
So during that time, I acquired a lot of fight IQ, in my opinion, you know.
Jimmy Rivera, that fight gets canceled. That was CFFC 19. You
Really, I
cut.
met Jimmy Rivera not too long ago.
You were supposed to fight him CFFC 19, and then
Yeah,
you main event Kyle Baker. I
yeah.
can't find anything on this,
No, I lost that fight, but
but it's a no contest.
yeah, he popped
How did you lose?
TKO. It was crazy. It was crazy. I um I cut so much weight I had to crawl to the weigh-ins, right? Like in my head, there's no way I can lose to this guy. Like we come in, I give him a left kick right to the head, and he hit me with the left hook, and like I didn't recover, and it was like one of my worst fights. One of my
And you're on a roll too.
yeah, yeah, and my
Oh,
world came crashing down. You know, all my hopes came crashing down. But the only saving grace was that he popped for something. I don't know what it was.
steroids. Yeah, steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard he popped, but I didn't. I don't know. I didn't find it. It's not separated on Fight Pass. I'd have to watch the entire event to get to it. Shedrick Goodridge. It's a catch weight at 175. It's the first time the fight will air in your home country.
Yeah. We did a deal with CFFC at that time.
Did you bring the deal to them?
Yeah. So it was online. It wasn't that big because it was like on Facebook. It wasn't. What year was that?
At 2013, right around your marriage.
Yeah. It wasn't yeah. Well, 2013, like Myanmar wasn't opened up that big yet, no? Myanmar
Okay.
opened 2015.
It's first time you win by rear naked choke. Jonavin Webb is your next bout with CFFC. He's 3-0. It's like you win one, lose one, win one, lose one.
Rough, right? And that Jonavin Webb fight, he kneed me while I was on the floor, on the ground. It should have been a no contest, right? My hands were on the floor, and I have the video of that still. You know, like it's an illegal
Strike. Yeah.
strike. He hit me twice with a knee when I was on the ground.
You know, when you're not the hometown guy.
Yeah, it don't matter.
No, really, like you're the B side. You're the B side. You're not supposed to win. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the approach. On a loss, you get called to OneFC. And I remember when this happened. Because your record was kind of win, lose, win, lose, win, win, lose, lose once, win, win. I just kept thinking, well, it's an Asian organization. Maybe they're just trying to, scoop up some of the good talent here, have them fight over there. I watched you fight. I knew you were exciting. I know you were a really nice guy. I had no idea that a different gear would be placed.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
I think my skill set kind of got there too, right? I started boxing with a boxing coach. I started working on my striking.
With who? Where is this when you moved to Florida?
No. This is in Baltimore.
Okay.
Right? In Baltimore. I hired I worked with a boxing coach. And there's a very good Muay Thai coach as well, Jamal Hardgrove.
Oh yeah,
Manu's guy.
Jamal Hardgrove. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, I was putting in work. I was putting in work. People can't see it, but I was putting in a lot of work there.
What surprised a lot of people, like if you look at here, Muhammad Salama, he's a 4-4 fighter, but he's tough. Like he's a very, very tough. The unfortunate part is like when you look at yourself, you've got a good record at this point, but you're a B-side. So like if you look at a B-side that's a 500 record, let's just say he's 15-12, but he's a B-side, that's a sad.
Yeah.
Beast, dude. A 15-12 B-side, 100% of his fights he was never supposed to win.
Yeah.
You've got a good record and you're a B-side.
Yeah. But you also have to understand that like the B-side is a B-side because of one reason, right? The B-side is no longer a B-side when you give them a gun. I'm just giving
money. Yeah.
A gun. They're no longer the B-side, right? So you give me the skill sets. You give me the skill sets the right coaching, the right nutrition, the right protocols, the right, then you're no longer the B side. Like the B side's only the B side because they're expected to lose, right? But um after when the skill sets catches up, there's no longer the B side.
No, I think a lot has to do with your head too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and then you got injured training for Tatsuya Mizuno, and you took 2 years off.
No, I didn't. I didn't get injured. I didn't have my passport. The first one championship fight, I went with a travel document. It was a travel document, and I wasn't a citizen yet. I became a citizen at the end of 2015. And at the end of 2015 is when Burma opened up. And then
So
Burma
you,
closed.
go ahead.
So
Yeah, Burma's closed. Yeah.
everything that happened to me happened at the right time.
So how did you survive for 2 years?
So I bought into one of the gyms, Crazy 88 Gym.
Uh-huh.
I was a part owner, and I was working at that time, like just grinding away, working, training, working, getting stronger, and just working on my fight IQ. And I probably at that time, I probably corner about 100 fights. Coach and corner about 100 fights. So when you do that, your fight IQ improves too.
Oh yeah. Well, you're looking at it differently.
Yeah.
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 That's what everybody says when they start coaching. They're like, man, I look at it different now. It's a
Yeah.
different visual. Muhammad Ali, the first time you fought in your country,
Yeah. Yeah.
March 18th, 2016. How was the homecoming?
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was so crazy. I was so famous, yet I was so poor at that time. But we shot some commercials and stuff like that, little side gigs, to make money, and it was good times. It was very good times.
What did your parents say?
They were proud of me at that time. They knew I didn't have much money, but they were proud of what I was doing, and I was featured on like at the front of the newspaper, of the Burmese newspaper. So they were very, very proud of me.
That's so cool. Yeah, you beat Muhammad Ali and then Alex Putorin.
Yeah.
Or Alexi, I should say. Alexi is 10-0. He's undefeated.
Yeah.
Straight friggin' savage, bro.
Yeah. Scary fight too on a
Yeah.
short on a 3.5 week notice. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't like me at that time, but they were not, maybe because of my manager, I don't know, but they gave me a very short notice, about 3.5 weeks.
Who was your manager at this time?
Dave Zwanitz. He's a
Yeah.
criminal at the gym.
He's a what?
He's a criminal lawyer. He's a lawyer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's 10-0 is, and you finish him, dude. You got him in an arm triangle.
Yeah. He soccer kicked me. He beat the crap out of me in the first round, and then on the second round, I was like, "No, I gotta get this one back."
Michael Pasternak, which is your
Yeah.
next fight. It's the first time you ever won a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hurt my back the week before the fight, really bad, like so bad that I almost pulled out. Right, I couldn't even jog on a treadmill for that fight, and for that fight, I had to get a cortisone shot right before I flew out, and I had to, like, I didn't have much money, so I had to, like, I upgraded my seat to premium economy so I can have more leg rooms. Right, crazy, right? And then only only like 2 days before the fight, my back was better. Yeah, it was really bad. It was really bad.
What does your wife think at this point?
She kind of trusts me with my judgment, you know? And I said, I can beat this guy. I just need to keep it on the feet. I'm just gonna jab. I'm just gonna, keep it on the feet. I knew I couldn't kick hard, but it's already big, press conference, and I'm the main event, so I had to make it happen, and we needed the money.
Dude, you're the friggin' main event for
Yeah.
OneFC, coming from the Midwest to the East Coast, now to Asia by way of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, the fight game is filled with just like real interesting people and how you meet them, and like it's crazy that you form friendships. You are 100% like that person here in the United States for us, like natural citizens here. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, we're like how the things that are going on these days, right? Very different from what it was in 2003. But I tell you, America is still one of the most. It's one of the best countries in the world. Like, and you can tell, you can see that just by when you take an airplane out of America versus when you come back to America. All the airplanes coming back to America is always packed. Always packed. There's a reason for that. And some of us, tend to forget that. And we should be thankful for that.
No. You get the opportunity for a title fight. This is a fight where billboards appeared all over your home country, heightening your profile as a citizen there.
Yeah.
Vitali Bagdash.
Big Dash, yeah.
Big Dash. I apologize. Big Dash. Yeah, I spoke. January 14, 2017. Dude, that's a crazy moment for you.
Because I wasn't supposed to fight him.
No.
Yeah, we found that out on Christmas Day, like 14 days before the fight or something like that, right? We found out about we signed the fight like 2 weeks out because they gave that fight to somebody else, right? They gave that fight to this other guy, and I was like, that's BS, because I had most win in the middleweight division at that time. This guy's a newcomer, but they gave it to this guy, somebody else, and anyways, the other guy got staph infection and got injured, and so they asked me to be the late replacement, on a 2.5 weeks notice, and I said, like, if I'll take this fight on one term, right? And the term is, if I were to lose this fight, I get a rematch in Burma, as a main event. Yeah. Because I know there was a card happening in Myanmar in the summertime, So I said, if I take this fight, you have to give me a rematch, immediate rematch.
Bro, you fight for the OneFC title in a rematch after losing a decision June 30th, 2017. This is like what movies are made of.
Yeah. Yeah. And we like, fighting is so, it's physical, but it's also a lot mental and spiritual. It's like you have to believe in yourself. You have to bet on yourself, even if you're the biggest underdog. And it's a lesson for life. That's like, you gotta bet on yourself, even if you're the underdog. In everything that we do.
Dude, you won a world title in your home country. Soon after that, December 7th, 2017, you met with the state councilor, Aung San Suu Kyi.
Yeah.
Bronze statue soon after is made in your home country with you in 2018. commander-in-chief, was it Center or was it Mia? I don't, dude, I'm not gonna pronounce these names. I'm gonna sound stupid. You became like the Michael Jordan of your country.
Yeah,
That's a lot of responsibility.
it is. It's a lot of responsibility for one man, you know?
Yeah, during the military coup in 2021, I know you got a lot of flack over like your stance, but it's like people expected you to come, and I don't know.
Yeah, you can't. You can't because these you know, it's like at the end of the day, I'm not a politician, you know. I'm I fight mixed martial arts sport, right? And I'm somebody's husband and a father of my kids. I'm not really like in a position where I can make like these big political like
Changes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could, right? I wish I could take the hurt from them, and I wish I could do it, but it's like I know what the military is capable of, right? Because I've seen it all my life. That little window from 2015 to the end of 2019, right? That little window is what a lot of the younger guys see, you know, a lot of the young generation see. But prior to 2003, like I know what the military is capable of, you know, and the things that they've done to my uncle. You know, a lot of them passed away, you know, fighting the war, the Civil War. So it's like I and also my goal in life is to go back and give to the people of Myanmar, right? Give them the opportunity, right? And I've already like opened up a gym, like partner with some people to open up a gym. So at that time I couldn't really talk because the gym was going to open up in April of 2020. So it was supposed to be like a gym that caters toward like the next generation of fighters. But it couldn't happen because of the military coup and COVID.
Have you thought about going back and running for political office?
I don't know. I mean, politics is very dirty, you know. Maybe in the future, but I think in the present, it's like I had to focus on my fight, right? That's coming up in September, and then I had to focus um on the best way to promote the next generation of fighters.
You know, you're a guy that sees opportunity when it's present, and you can't force opportunity. Opportunity has to be present. Yeah. So if the opportunity, you just don't force it. One day it'll be there. Just wait.
Yeah,
it'll be there. You just gotta wait.
Yeah, yeah. Like the opportunity that I had, right, in Myanmar. Like if I was 2 years early, it wouldn't have amount to anything, right? Or if I won the belt 3 years later, it wouldn't have amount to anything. Because that window of democracy was from 2015 to 2020, right? So in that window, I was able to make an impact and do all this, right? But then again, it all started from 2005 when I stepped in that cage against Emerson rushing, and I fell in love.
Bro, I need to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We were all saying, yep, he needs to stick with his math classes. Yeah. He needs to stick with his math classes. We all of us, we all were. Because, you know, you remember you're 4 and you're new. It's we're the Midwest. People fly over us. People don't fly here; they fly away.
Yeah.
We got this like an exchange student. Wait, what? And he's fighting? Come on.
Right? It's crazy.
It's good shit, dude. It's good. I loved it. Yeah, no, I followed your career ever since, man. You were really cool weigh-ins. Like, you were a little nervous. Everybody's first fight. And I just remember, I'm like, why are we talking? Why are we here together? Yeah, I had cutthroat fight gear. There was a t-shirts, the booth that my wife was working. Yeah, it was me and my wife, dude.
Crazy. That's your wife thing?
Yeah, it was my ex-wife. Yeah, it was my ex-wife and I. The cutthroat fight gear that was all over the Midwest at that time. Yeah.
Crazy. Small world,
huh? Let me tell you something, man. Your story has just begun.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
good stuff.
One, bro.
What's that?
We're gonna have a banger fight next month.
Yep.
Do you know a guy named Gerald Meerschaert?
Dude, come on, man. Of course. Dude, please tell me you're socking him up over at Kill Cliff.
I trained with him this morning. He was on today.
So what people don't know about Gerald Meerschaert is he might be the last guy. I think for sure he is, but I don't know. The last guy on the UFC roster that fought with the headbutt rule set.
Really?
What he fought, I was at one of his fights where their headbutts were allowed. For sure, 100%.
He's so soft.
Yeah. Good dude. Man, dude, I asked for an hour. You gave me 2 and some change. Thank you so much, man. Hey, I'm going to be with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. I think you're probably away. When is your next fight? What date?
September 6th.
You'll be back. If you want to come to the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, you and a guest, 100% on me.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll talk when my contract is over too.
Either way, come out to a live event, brother. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, I want some bare knuckle fighting too one day.
Come on, dude. We'll take you. For sure, we'll take you. Be good.
All right, God bless. Take care, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there, Aung La Nsang, he is an absolute legend. Like, he's like the Michael Jordan of his home country. And he walks around completely unimpeded, where people really in the United States don't know who he is. And you guys got a kind of a glimpse of just how far back I go and remembering somebody like him on his first fight, as well as our conversation, of which obviously he remembered as well. So like, share, subscribe. But joining me, Andy Campbell.
Hi.
By way of Scotland. So Andy, why don't we talk about exactly what we've been doing and what you have been doing on Instagram?
Yeah, well, so on Instagram for the Lights Out podcast, I've basically been taking some of the long form content that you guys are making, and I've been clipping it up into reels and releasing a reel pretty much every day for the last maybe 30 days now.
I don't think it's that long. It's close. It's not just under 30 days.
Just under 30 days. And I think it's going pretty well so far.
Okay. So you say you think it's gone well. Would you mind telling people exactly kind of what percentage is
according to the numbers, I think last time I checked, we're getting 1,700 more reach.
Percent. 1,700%
more people visiting the Instagram page and liking the content, making comments. So it's going really well.
So what I will tell you is, like, with obviously your help, the Instagram, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers right now, but like the clips you picked, like you're honing in. Like, some get huge traction, some get a little traction, but you're dialing it in.
That's what I feel as well. I feel as if we're starting to zero in on the kind of popular content and the things that the people want to see. So we are getting there, yeah.
And I can tell you like our YouTube numbers, because we just kind of grabbed that and populated over YouTube. Our YouTube numbers, our views have doubled. Our watch time's a little bit about the same, a little bit higher, but also there's a little bit of a dip always. Like, sometimes with guests, when you get like Mark Holman, Don Fry, and guys like that, like you get lots of views.
Spikes.
And then like you get like the guys that I like to interview, like Remco Pardue, Jonathan Ivey, people like that. It's a little bit of a dip, but it's not much. But like we've noticed like a good volume. We've doubled the amount of people watching what we're doing.
Good. Excellent. Do you think some of that is a spillover from the Instagram?
Oh, it's 100%. And then like I said, there's a little bit of like there's an ebb and flow with our Apple, like Google Play and Spotify. We're a little bit of a downtime right now. Anytime we've got a Dutch fighter on, for some reason, it's my favorite interviews, but it's some of our lowest viewed stuff comes from people from Holland. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know, but it's true. And so when you go like a Remco Pardue, who, dude, crazy good interview. Yeah. But notice the dip.
Is it maybe the American audience? They're not as familiar with the European fighters, possibly?
The majority of our audience is from the United States.
Yeah.
Like we've got like a dozen people in Zambia. We might have like one or two people like in like Holland and stuff like that. But
you've got at least one guy in Scotland now.
Yeah, we definitely got one guy in Scotland. We got a few people in Scotland, but it's just. But that's the podcast, though. It's like usually like my thought when I first started it, it's like ticket sales. If I can get a guy to sell a couple hundred tickets, but then I retain 5 or 10 for each person, that means 5 or 10 kind of carry over and over.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out with certain guys, but I don't care. It's great content and it's evergreen.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Just as good today as it is in 5 years from now.
Exactly. It's evergreen.
Yeah, it's evergreen.
The thing that confused me when I first looked into the Lights Out podcast, I think I got a comment on one of my own Instagram videos that mentioned the Lights Out podcast and MMA history, and I decided to go and check it out and really, really liked it. But on YouTube, it seemed as if you guys had like thousands of followers and plenty of comments and plenty of engagement. And then I went onto the Instagram page, and I think it was incredibly low compared to the YouTube, which totally confused me, because the type of clips you guys can make and the type of content you put out, it seems custom made for Instagram because it's visual, it's audio. It seems
it is, but like the work that you do, and you take our clips, the people are so unaware of the material to where like I would deal with the Indians and the Arabs giving me a call, and dude, like I said, I'm at work right now, and giving me a call and wanting to do it. I'm like, man, I'll pay. I'll do whatever it is you want. And then it's like, I can't put this out. Like I'd rather have nothing than this. So it's just, I had to wait for somebody like yourself to come along. Yeah,
you would probably spend most of your time guiding those people to the right content and then explaining. So it's a complete waste of time. Whereas I'm familiar with MMA and MMA history, so I know roughly what, I know how to put this stuff together. So it's almost a custom fit. Perfect.
So there's like John Fitch. He has a podcast. I actually really like John Fitch's podcast.
Yeah.
And
Fitch Knows Nothing.
Yeah, that's it. So he does clips as well. And whoever his producer is knows what they're doing. And so when hey John, you want to share? And like, what I mean? It's just, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna, and I would never share you. I would never share you.
Exactly. I think there's obviously different podcasts of a similar niche, and there's going to be different editors with different styles, and it's good to have your own unique style as opposed to trying to copy other people too much as well, because then it all just becomes the one thing. and there's nothing
Okay.
unique about any of them.
Yeah. So in essence, I got 15 years in law enforcement, and a large portion of that had me interviewing lots and lots of people that did not want to talk to me.
Right.
So it took about a year to really kind of get my style in regards to understanding.
Right.
Like in this interview, like what I did was there's an instance where we're kind of I'm seeing that they're dialed in, and what I'll do is I'll skip a fight and I'll say, oh, so and so, but let's talk about this one. When the fighter backs up, that means they're locked in. I am good to go. So it's like there's little tells like that, like in conversation that I'll do, and it's just from literally thousands and thousands of hours of interviewing people.
Yeah.
And these people want to talk to me. The other people did not.
It comes across. It is a unique podcast interview style that you've got. It's completely different from the others that are out there. So, and your knowledge of MMA history, how did that happen? Have you always been a fan? Did you compete?
So I boxed growing up. I loved old boxing stories. I probably got 60 boxing matches, amateur stuff. And when my boxing coaches started passing away, or other people's coaches started passing away, me and this guy Keith Palmer, who was mentioned in this podcast, was Chris Lytle's boxing coach. We would exchange stories, and Chris would get in on it too. So we were originally boxing historians. And there's a couple there's one boxing interview podcast out there. I don't want to say the guy's name. I left a really positive review, but it's an unprepared conversation where you don't learn much unless you know absolutely nothing. So listening to the fighters that I knew, and like my hard questions, like, no, dude, what about this moment in that fight, or this round of that? And I'd be yelling at the phone. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe somebody's doing this for MMA. Nobody was. There's people that do it for jiu-jitsu, but they don't do it for MMA.
For MMA, which is bizarre because it's been around forever. Well, it seems like forever, like what, 40 years maybe now since the first.
Right. So
UFC?
my first live event was 1997 that I attended.
Wow.
What I started was when the boxing trainers started dying. I started taking notes in 2003. So a lot, like if you fought in the Midwest, which is a huge, like kind of resting area for not just a big fight area, especially in the early days.
Yeah.
I've taken notes on you. Yeah, I've taken notes. Like we had with Aung. Like there was a few times in there where I told him the notes I took on him, and it surprised him, but it's just years of law enforcement, dude.
I would love to see some of the UK guys come on the podcast, depending on who you could get, and that would be really cool.
I mean, we've had a few, but and I'll work my schedule around theirs. They're not easy. Like
not easy to get on this time.
I'd say the East Coast in the United States are the hardest. And then I would say the UK guys, especially like the Scotland area. I don't know anybody there. Like you, I know you.
Yeah.
And like if you research podcasts, they'll also tell you if you rely on guests, you're in trouble. And I'm like, they'll say like, no, you can't rely on guests. You have to do the content yourself. And it's like, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But my first event was 1997.
Right.
So I've been doing this almost 3 years. I haven't missed a single week other than a brief period of time where I had to kind of revamp the podcast to kind of have somebody exit.
That's another success factor is consistency. Whether that's on YouTube or Instagram or X.
Running in and out.
Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah.
It's unusually okay. So just so everybody at home knows, it's unusually busy here. It is never like this. And I took this job. I'm not kidding you. I took this job to get me out of the house to psychotically research people on top of my notes. So like all of this movement happening, it's an aberration. It absolutely does not happen.
It sounds like a good job.
Yeah. So it's just get paid to do my research. All right, let's do a couple topical things before we go.
Sure.
Craig Jones Invitational versus ADCC coming up in a few weeks. By the time this airs, it'll be just before it. Okay, you're in Scotland. I'm in the United States. Your feed, is it filled with Craig Jones stuff or
it's
ADCC
filled with Craig
stuff?
Jones antics and promoting his CGI, and there's a lot of talk about it in the gym and with the guys who are training as well. So it'll be really interesting just to see how it goes and what it's like.
All right,
Don't you think?
Oh, for sure. And you know, man, listen, the jiu-jitsu guys, early MMA that you and I really like. Early MMA is a bunch of guys that fight for little to no money. They fought for the love.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is in that period today.
Is that thing? Yeah.
You know, I mean, is it as exciting as MMA? You could argue no, but the realness of it, it's like,
it's incredible.
It's incredible. So you have to respect it. Yes. So like you look at like wrestling and jiu-jitsu, both of those sports, there's no money in it. So the people that do it at real high levels, it weeds out the phonies.
That exact topic's always fascinated me. People that invested their life into MMA when there was literally no money in it.
Yeah.
You know, there was no career path. There's no Conor McGregor or even no Chuck Liddell at that point in time. So it's how did they know it was going to work out?
So in essence, like when you look at the old guys that did all that for like no money, the jiu-jitsu guys are doing it now, but them and the wrestlers, they're like cousins that like to fight. Like as much as like I'm a wrestling, team wrestler, I'm team jiu-jitsu. Dude, at the end of the day, it's people that go to a family party and like to fight each other and shake hands at the end of it. Like they're all in it together. They really are. 100%. So I looked at the Craig Jones Invitational, the seating chart. They've got about maybe 1,000 to 1,200 tickets sold. It's a huge stadium. I then went to Abu Dhabi. They're at just under 13,000 sold.
Right. Okay.
So you got one of those venues is going to be empty. Yeah, so you got a huge venue. You probably, I mean, we'll call it 1,500. That's me guessing high, but it's not. It's not for Craig Jones. You know, also with Craig, one of the interesting things is where his money's coming from. Like he went on.
It's a total mystery.
He went on Joe Rogan and he brought $1 million with him to show it wasn't fake.
In a suitcase.
In a suitcase, but then when asked about it, he got like real quiet and kind of evasive. There's
some rumors.
Go ahead.
I've heard some rumors about a tech billionaire or something.
Of who?
Giving him money. One of the big tech billionaires. Possibly, I've read something like that, but I don't know too much about it.
Well, there's so many questions about it that, and dude, I'm going to put this up front. Like, I'm not a jerk off talking head that's trying to create like a clickbait headline. But the reality of the situation is when you go on a big program like that and talk in that manner and actually have $1 million in cash, of which like nobody uses money anymore anyway. Sometimes the IRS starts sticking their nose around. And I don't know what the IRS is in Scotland, but
HMRC, it's a very similar system as far as I'm aware.
I would rather be charged with murder and deal with a murder trial than the IRS picking through my finances. Because you're going to prison. Like you're 100%. Actually going to prison. Yes.
100%.
Yeah. You know, in murder trials, there's a lot of moving parts. You know, you got officers that may not be the best at their craft, but the IRS is filled with nerds that know how to count. You want nothing to do with that.
They brought down the mob. Tax evasion.
Here, he's going to Ukraine. I know we're sending a lot of money to Ukraine. He's blowing cars up. Like some would call that evidence. in regards to shady activity.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, like, he's a foreigner here.
Yeah.
He's here on a visa, and he's getting Ukrainian money from weird sources that he won't disclose.
Yes.
Here.
Is it definitely Ukrainian money that he's?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
I know for
Really?
for sure it is. For sure. Yeah, I can say that, like, there's very few things I can speak exactly about that I can. And I will say he's going to need an attorney.
Yeah. So some people a while back were speculating that it might be Zuckerberg.
No.
You know, he's training jiu-jitsu.
It's not.
And it's not.
It's not. No.
No, that's just speculation.
For sure, it's not. No, that's nice wishful thinking. It's not.
Yeah.
No, he's going. He's so all right. Craig Jones is a very interesting guy. I think he's really funny. Makes
really
phenomenal content.
Yeah.
Like he really does. Makes phenomenal content. The issue with Craig Jones is he's kind of like a bimbo type guy.
Okay.
And the loose ends that you see that aren't really tied up with his live event in a few days from when this airs are also probably happening with his bookkeeping.
Right.
And I'm just, I wouldn't want to be tied to that financially, is what I'm trying to say.
It's a shame because in one hand, like, I like the fact that he's given fighters a platform to get some real pay. Like we spoke about, BJJ, the athletes being underpaid. So in one sense, it's good that they're finally getting an avenue to make a living. In another sense, it's taken away quite a lot because ADCC has been on the go for. Mike, I think your microphone's muted.
And Craig Jones' character.
Yeah.
Like on a separate side, Mo from ADCC, I don't think he'll publicly say this.
Yeah.
But I kind of know he lent him money to open up his gym, lent him money to move after the split with Danaher.
B team?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Lended him money for a house, like let him stay with him for a few months at a time. So you're looking at Craig Jones that has borrowed and had his hand out on numerous times where Mo Yassin has like actually came across and helped him. And now it seems like the Craig Jones Invitational is like the main purpose is to embarrass ADCC.
Yeah. I wondered about that as well. Has he got some weird kind of thing? I don't really follow it too much, but is there is there some sort of problem with the split between Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan? Is there bad blood there because they're
what I do know, I don't feel comfortable stating because I don't know for a fact. I know when the personal issues, the family issues after Gordon's father passed, kind of a line was drawn in the sand, and shortly thereafter, the B team split, and his brother went to B team. So
that's right.
My prediction: anybody that participates that participates with Craig Jones Invitational, the likelihood of them ever being invited or being allowed to participate with ADCC, like if you're Mo, you got to drop the hammer on him. Like you have to.
Right.
KB Garcia, all right, you're in the Hall of Fame. Don't come back.
Is everybody still going through with it? The people who've been signed up to CGI or is...
Yeah. I mean, that's just fantastic brackets. Yeah, no, they got a solid product. They do. Yeah. I mean, they 100% got a solid product. But there's going to be some fallout there, and like people can't be surprised. Like, so what I had heard was that. Do you remember when that video Craig Jones said, anybody that takes money under the table from ADCC defeats the purpose of other people getting paid? And he was like really mad about it.
Yeah.
A few days later, he's making more videos in Ukraine to go get more money.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what kind of deals he's making in Ukraine and like what kind of return. Like you never get free money without an expectation of return. And Craig Jones's event there'll be under 2,000 people there. Like even if there's 3,000, they still lost their ass.
Yeah. Is
So-
it pay-per-view or is there any
It's pay-per-view and live. But I just, this guy's going through millions and he's going to owe it. And I hope that people that like, I'm from the south side of Chicago. I know you're from Scotland.
Yeah.
There's people that you know that you can approach for money, and they're good guys. Like they're legitimately good guys when you don't owe them money.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And he had to go back for a second round after ADCC started paying guys under the table.
Yeah.
And it's like,
potentially taking some risks.
dude, this thing, you know, I think the real show is what happens afterward.
Yeah.
You know, get your picture taken with Craig Jones, get your t-shirts from the event. He's not doing a second one. And, you know, it might be the last photo op.
You never know. Sometimes these characters are crazy enough to pull it off.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, like, share, subscribe. Dude, I got to get out of here, man. This is the madhouse. This never happens. All right, dude. Do you think? Always a pleasure. You're the man, 80. Plug your company, please.
Yes. Go into Instagram. You'll get me with Martial Mindset on Instagram. And also go over to the Lights Out Podcast Instagram and like our content.
Thank you, guys.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.